So let's unpack this, shall we? Tell the people what exactly is going on that has Vivek Ramaswamy, who, by the way, just received a cease and desist from Eminem. Don't use my shit. Which happens all the time with Republicans thinking that they are going to be cool. And then they are like, no, we don't fuck with you.
Especially that Rich Man in Richmond song, which is the best thing ever. They use that song and he's like, I sang this quasi-racist song about all you rich millionaire Republicans who are on the debate stage. And they're like, but you're still kind of Republican because you hate black people.
So we'll embrace you.
Yeah, we'll embrace you.
Tell us about your cousin, Vivek.
Okay, my cousin Vivek, of course, we're related to each other. And Vivek Ramaswamy is that Desi kid that all Desi kids knew growing up. Mm-hmm. That son of rich, privileged, suburban immigrants who was deeply insecure, really wanted the hottest girl to like him, but she never did. A smart guy who used his privilege to ultimately succeed and has tried his whole life to gain the love and admiration of the people he covets, but will never invite him to the party. Basically, he's one of those individuals, if you're a person of color, the cultural validator, the person who tries to be cool and hip by singing hip-hop music, but doesn't know a black person, a person who will put his hat sideways, but then chide the blacks for not pulling up their bootstraps or their pants. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Vivek is the type of guy who is a chameleon, who will literally be your Etch-a-Sketch Desi, your Etch-a-Sketch token, who will literally be eyeballs and teeth on a billboard for you and parrot what you want him to say to get close to power. Aspirational whiteness, model minority, the cultural validator, the token, the Manchurian candidate. He is the guy who has no substance, a man who hasn't voted Republican since, I think, forever, a man who there's a video that just got released from 20 years ago where apparently he was in the Q&A in the audience and he was raising his hand. God. And he was talking about why should I vote for a Democrat? Shouldn't experience matter? And you're like, what experience do you have? A guy who is a quote unquote biotech engineer, even though he's not, and he made his money basically off of being a predator and hawking failed medicine, I believe, Alzheimer's medicine, right? He sold it before it was revealed that it failed and basically screwed everyone, right? Like it's totally useless, ineffectual medicine that did not help anyone, but he was able to sell it and make his millions, much like Elon Musk, right? And now realizes he's not stupid. That's what I want people to realize. He's a smart guy. He's cynical and he's smart and he's a phony. He realizes, I know where the Republican Party is. The Republican Party was Donald Trump. So he does his best, what I call Las Vegas review impression of Trump in the Republican debates. And like I tweeted, my tweets are there. I said before looking at the polls, they'll love him. And guess who got the biggest bump, right, from the polls? Vivek Ramaswamy, who, by the way, is Hindu. And a report just came out today, and I'm not surprised by it. We were just talking about right before we started recording, that even though he's Hindu, Hindus are making alliances with white Christian evangelicals. And this goes back to what's happening in India with the rise of Hindu fascism. And Hindu fascism is aligning with Israel and Christian evangelicals to promote the strongman authoritarian right-wing politics going against a shared enemy. In this case, it's the Muslims. And I can tell you, and this is, I say with deep sadness in my heart, I have noticed the rise of these fascistic tendencies in the past 20 years in America when Moodie, the Prime Minister of India, who, by the way, folks, people forget, for nearly 10 years, Moodie, who is now the leader of India, was denied a visa by the United States of America. Do you know why, Danielle?
I have an idea, but I would like you to tell me.
Because of his role in the Gujarat riots that killed more than 1,000 people, because of his excessive human rights violations, because of his record of being part of the RSS, which took inspiration from the Nazis, part and parcel of the hard right, fascistic, Hindu right in India. And now he's coveted and they love him because, hey, India is a big market. And I can tell you that a lot of the Indian immigrants, the Mal minorities, the folks in the suburbs, love them their Modi. So look at the brown people being courted by MAGA. Vivek Ramaswamy, Kash Patel, Ajit Pai, Nikki Haley. And now it's brown on brown war because Vivek is mocking Nikki Haley for changing her name. So this is what we're dealing with: tokenism, white supremacy, cultural validation, and the realization of Vivek that I could get close to whiteness. They'll like me, but they won't love me. But it'll get me enough to maybe be a Fox consultant or contributor, or maybe in a Trump cabinet. And all I'll have to do is throw people of color, Black people, immigrants, and my own people under the bus. I'll reverse that bus. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Move away from the mic, Wajahat Ali, because it is on fire. That was a read like I have never seen a fucking read.
That was top of the dome. We didn't even prep that. That was pure.
If my dreams were to ever come true, it would be a debate stage with you going toe to toe with Vivek and Nikki Haley and just tearing them to shreds. I don't want to see brown on brown crime, but I'd pay for that. Let me tell you something, that when I was trying to stomach that debate and I'm watching the performance of Vivek Ramaswamy, because that's what it was a performance, because he's been watching Donald Trump. They all watch Donald Trump. And if you see them, they all have their own inflections to try and be the tough person in the room.
That's right.
But when Vivek had said on the stage, let's just have fun. We're here to have fun.
That's right.
I'm like, you motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
We got a place, a city that is just burned to the ground. We have hurricanes. We got wildfires. And you're standing on stage telling us that climate change is a hoax?
With that shit-eating grin.
Telling us that, climate innovation has killed more people than climate change ever will? With your fucking obnoxious, shit-eating grin that I wanted to smack off of that man's face. And I don't believe in violence. Let me just put that as an underscore.
Figurative.
But let me tell you something. Figuratively, up and down the fucking stage. And what I realized is that this is the Republican movement. As somebody had said to me in another interview this week, is that it's not a Republican Party. It is now a movement. And it's really hard to stop a movement if you're not aware of where they're trying to move towards, right? All of them, not one of them on the stage is about democracy. Not one of them is about truth. Not one of them is about science. Not one of them is about facts.
That's right.
They are about performance above anything and everything else.
That's right.
But the thing that they're not performing, that they're actually succeeding at, is the rise of fascism and authoritarianism in this country that we are seeing from Tennessee to Florida and all of the places that are in between. In Tennessee, I want to get to next. You have a Tennessee Speaker of the House who once again has silenced one of the Justins from speaking, who just won their seat back that was wrongfully taken from them from the expulsion that happened in the last term, physically pushed him.
Seen the video. It's on video.
Because this is what Republicans are doing now. And has just closed out the session. Emptied the chamber, closed out the session, and you're seeing white mothers being dragged by police.
Young, blonde, good-looking white moms, the most favored unicorns in America, are being dragged out. Not Black folks, good-looking suburban white moms in the South.
So when you see this imagery, and before it was okay, right? The dragging, the beating, the silencing, because who were they doing it to? Black people, brown people, indigenous folks, so poor people. So anybody, they don't give a fuck. But now it's Karen and Rebecca and Jill. And they don't understand what the hell is going on. So tell me, as we're seeing this rise, are we also seeing the Great Awakening Because these folks are realizing that these Republican white men, they're in it to take it all.